What in the hay bales is going on with the price of wood? If you've done any DIY or gotten bids on any projects lately that involve lumber, then you know that the price of lumber has shot up over 300% year over year to all-time highs. Why, you ask? I'm going to tell you. Hi friends, this is Brian with eXp Realty in San Antonio, and here are the 5 factors that created the perfect storm to send lumber prices through the roof. I've been in the financial world for 22 years, and a price spike like this one is almost always a supply and or demand issue, and this one is no different. So number 1, the supply issue. At the beginning of the pandemic, many businesses felt like we would go into a recession, and this is across industries. They felt like not only might we be headed for a recession, but we could be really headed towards a depression. As a result, 22.4 million Americans lost their job in the first 2 months of the pandemic. Some of those people worked in places like sawmills. Sawmills began layoffs almost immediately and scaled back production, fearing a significant drop in the demand for lumber. By the end of April 2020, wood production was down 16% from just a couple of months prior in January of 2020. But things didn't go according to plan. Demand for lumber didn't drop as expected. In fact, it exponentially increased. Why? Well, there are 4 primary factors that cause demand to increase so dramatically. Demand factor number 1, DIY. You and I were now stuck at home, and placed directly in front of us was the honey-do list we've been putting off for so long. Sales at home improvement stores shot up 13% in the first 2 months of the pandemic, coincided with the exact same time the sawmills were reducing production and laying people off. This caused a spike in the demand for lumber. By the end of the summer, the sawmills had reversed course and began normal production again. And finally, by the end of December 2020, we were back to pre-pandemic production levels. But we lost 9 months of full production and got way behind the demand curve, and they still haven't caught up yet. Demand factor number 2, the millennial generation shift. In 2019, 4.8 million millennials began to turn 30 years old. That just so happens to be considered the primary age for the first-time homebuyer. So there's all this organic first-time homebuyer demand hitting the market, while at the same time, during the pandemic, the Fed continued to lower rates, causing the 30-year mortgage rate to bottom out at 2.65 in December of 2020. That took what was already a hot real estate market and effectively poured gasoline on it as people realized they could get a nicer home than they lived in currently at a lower monthly payment. It's the reason why, if you have any realtor friends or relatives, they've told you stories about multiple offers going well over asking with only 2 days on the market. Demand factor number 3, low housing inventory. Due to the pandemic, many people who otherwise might have put their house on the market for sale decided not to do so. And with the strong buyer demand we just talked about, combined with low pre-existing homes coming on the market, inventory in the U.S. fell by 50%. 6 months of housing inventory is considered a stable market in the United States. But across the board, inventory dwindled well below that. Here in San Antonio, where I'm a realtor, our current inventory is 1.3 months. That's a historic low. Well, what that number means is if no new homes came on the market in San Antonio, based off of the current demand, in 1.3 months, there would be no more homes to buy. And that point is the key to the current lumber shortage because it led directly to demand factor number 4. If there aren't enough pre-existing homes to purchase, well, that pushes the buyer to what? New home construction. In March, new housing starts hit their highest level since 2006. And you know what requires a lot of lumber? A new house. And not a cheap new house either. The NAHB calculates that the current price of lumber adds $36,000 to the price of a new build. So there you have it. The 5 supply and demand factors that created the perfect storm for your lumber prices at your local home improvement store to have tripled and quadrupled over the past year. When does it come back down? Your guess is as good as mine. There's a limited capacity on the supply side. Sawmills can only produce so much wood. which means the demand is going to have to weaken for prices to come down. And it doesn't look like that is going to happen anytime soon. I hope you found this information informative and helpful. If I can help you or anyone you know sell their home or buy a new one, please reach out. Grace and peace to you.